Hello, my dear project managers, PMP exam students. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to PMP Exam Simplified Nano Bootcamp. This bootcamp is going to be extremely rapid. So tighten your seatbelts and be ready to fly because we are going to break down what exactly you need to do to make the exam simplified for you. If you're watching me on YouTube or my friends on Instagram, I would love for you to chat into me and let me know where you're listening to me from and what time of the day it is. It'll be of great interest to me. But you see, the thing about the PMP exam is a lot of people say it is difficult to maneuver. It is difficult to study. It is difficult to understand. So I wanted to give you some reminders to make it as simple as possible to help you recall what you need to do to stay on the straight and narrow. To stay on the straight and narrow for the PMP exam, you need to boil it down into its three prongs. That's my message to you. If you're studying for the PMP exam, boil it down into its three prongs. What are the three prongs for the PMP? People, process, business. You see, this is why a lot of people have struggles on the exam because they're making it too difficult. They are looking at the exam from a different lens, and you're running all over the place, looking at it from PMBOK lens, looking at it from Agile lens. No, no, no. You're getting it wrong. You're getting it wrong. To make PMP simple, boil it down into three components: people, process, business. Let me show you what I mean, and it will make absolute sense. So, the PMP exam at its 40,000 foot view looks just like this. Let's zoom in a little bit. PMP at the 40,000 foot view. Let's zoom in a little bit. If we get to PMP in the people domain, as you can see here, there are 14 things that you need to be able to speak to, need to feel comfortable doing, and need to be knowledgeable in. We have manage conflict, lead a team, support team performance, empower team members and stakeholders, so on and so forth. So as you're studying daily, you need to be checking all of these off. As you're studying daily, you need to be like, check, done. I understand this. Check, done. I understand. I have read the content. I have taken the mock exam for it, and I've moved on. So what number do you have here? 14. 14 tasks. And you're not ready for the exam until you have studied the 14. What do we have here in process? 17 tasks. You should have gone through the 17 with a fine-tooth comb and check, check, check. That needs to be how you proceed. The business environment, we have 4 tasks. So when you boil it down, there are 14 things that you need to study in people, 17 things that you need to study in process, and 4 that you need to study in business. Most months have 30 days. So by day 30, you should be on task 16 here if you're doing one a day. And honestly, one a day is too slow, especially when you want to get this done in 2 months max. Some of you want to get this done in a month, then you got to be studying maybe 4 processes a day, I think is fair, or at least 3 so that you can get done with the first pass in about 12 days and go for a second round. That's how you need to do it. Layering understanding. You get what I'm saying? For those of you just coming, we're talking about PMP simplified. I'm showing you how to make your PMP exam simple. Some of you are on courses that are all over the place. They're teaching you knowledge areas and process groups first, and that's just not how to do it. The way to do it is to have an overarching understanding of the components. So tonight, I'm going to show you what these components are all about. It's going to go very quick. I would advise you to take notes, come back to the video and watch it again and again. If you're studying for the PMP exam, day one, hit manage conflict. Watch the videos at pmp.pmradio.org. Watch the videos, they're free, pmp.pmradio.org. There are 14 videos on people. These videos will be your guiding light and your sounding board as you study. Okay? When it comes to manage conflict, you got to understand avoid or withdraw, compromise or reconcile, force or direct, collaborate or problem solve, smooth or accommodate. You got to understand those. You got to understand the context for managing conflict. You are not to resolve the conflict for people, they are meant to do it themselves. Leading a team, understand the 5 stages of team development, Tuckman's ladder. Support team performance, understand the concept of team performance assessments. Empowering team members and stakeholders, understand the concept of the Hersey-Blanchard model and the concept of delegating. Understand that philosophy, that concept. Ensuring team members and stakeholders are adequately trained. Understand that in the world of Agile, we have a skills marketplace. In the world of predictive, we get the team the training and coaching they need. So understand the concept of a team charter and what it might say as regards to mentoring and coaching each other. Building a team, you got to understand the 5 stages of team development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Again, it's not to cram them, but it's to understand the philosophies. 7, impediments, obstacles, and blockers. You got to understand what they are. So you got to be entrenched into this world of agility to understand the servant leader's job is to do this. I would say read up the Scrum Guide at scrumguides.org. Ken Schwaber has a website out there with Jeff Sutherland where you can read the Scrum Guide. I would also recommend going to scrum.org to take some of Ken's open-ended, open, free, I would say, mock exams. Negotiate project agreements. Again, it's the philosophy. We want it to be win-win, not win-lose. Collaborate with stakeholders. You got to understand what the Agile Manifesto says. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Read your Agile Manifesto. Understand from the perspective of the customer. Build shared understanding. Again, it's all these philosophies. You got to understand the concept of being transparent. Transparency. Along these lines, you got to understand one of the best things Kanban will do for you: transparency. Understand the principles of Kanban, the concept of limiting your WIP, making process policies explicit and things like that. It helps your mindset. Engage and support virtual teams. Hopefully, you know what a virtual team is. Virtual teams are geographically dispersed. When we talk about the people domain at large, there's certain terminologies you got to understand, like T-shaped scales. What does that mean in the world of Agile? It means broad and deep skill sets, same as broken comb or paint drip. When it comes to define team ground rules, you got to understand this is a team charter, social contract, team contract, ground rules. All that same talk goes under here, right? A team contract, a team agreement, social contract, ground rules. same thing. So when we say define team ground rules, the ground rules live in the team charter, also known as a team contract or social contract, also known as a team agreement. Mentoring relevant stakeholders is a no-brainer. As a scrum master, as a servant leader in the world of agile, it's something you do all the time. In the world of predictive, it's also a hat you should wear. So for this exam, be aware you'll be tested on that. 14, promote team performance through the application of EI. Just use common sense understanding to how EI works, body language, facial expressions, because EI, emotional intelligence, is bridling your emotions, understanding yourself, bridling your emotions, and being able to influence the emotions of others. And honestly, boom, there we go. That is the very first domain. There is really nothing more to it than studying these things that I've given you very rapidly. Go back to the video, watch them over and over again because it's going to help you. When you talk about some of the overarching philosophies that the PMI will espouse, we also talk about the 12 principles in PMBOK. 7, understand 12 principles of project management. Like I said, understand the Agile Manifesto values and principles. These things will help you. So again, it's philosophy, philosophy, philosophy. When it comes to the people piece, philosophies will help you a whole lot. And honestly, I see most people doing well on the people domain easily. Where people struggle is the next one. Let's go to the next one. Next one is process domain. Listen carefully because it is going to go quick and I'm going to be dropping a ton of gold for you to go mine and re-listen. Okay. So when we talk about process, the tricky thing here, you got to remember this is talking about the world of agile, the world of hybrid, and the world of predictive, right? This is where you need to really put on those three different hats, and you could change the hats. It might help you on some of the questions. So the very first one, execute project with urgency required to deliver business value. Read the Agile Manifesto and understand what it says about a couple of weeks to a couple of months with preference to shorter time scale. Why the shorter time scale? You got to understand its urgency to deliver value so a customer can begin to reap benefits. We reap benefits. We could take some of those monies that we've realized, our profits, put it back into production, and you're just compounding your profits from a business standpoint. So understand why you want to execute urgently to deliver business value. You also need to understand what is value. Value is the net quantifiable benefits that a customer derives from a product, service, or result. So understand that in order for there to be value, there should be benefits. In order for there to be benefits, there should be some advantage you're experiencing. There should be a higher level of efficiency, a higher level of proficiency, something great that you're experiencing. Number 2, manage communications. To understand this is where your 49 processes come in. Because in the process domain, even though it's not in the order they appear in process groups or practice guide, you got to understand what exactly am I doing in managed communications. It's a bit of a bland statement. So with managed communications, you got to understand the three things you do and why and how. And they are planned communications management, managed communications, monitor communications. Three things you do in the world of the PMI. And that is how you need to roll with this. Then you need to put on your agile hat and say, how do we manage communications in agile? What are some of the artifacts that could be used as a communications tool? Well, you think about your Kanban board right there, that's a communications tool. You think about the understanding of velocity, burn up charts, burn down charts. Those are also communication tools. So the way we communicate is not by providing big old reports as we do in other worlds, right? And honestly, in the world of predictive, it doesn't have to be a big old report, but we do have work performance reports. So you got to understand, what is a work performance report? How does it differ from just ordinary data that hasn't been distilled into information, that hasn't been distilled into a report? These are some of the things you need to understand the concept so that when you're on the exam, you're mowing it down and killing it, not saying, oh, I don't understand the language. You see, if you read the detail, if you understand the details surrounding these three processes here: plan communications management, manage communications, monitor communications, you'll be at supersonic speed. All right, moving on to the second one here. The third one, assess and manage risk. You got to understand what is a risk. A risk is an uncertain event that could affect your project positively or negatively. You got to understand PMI's perspective to risk. You got to plan risk management, identify risk, perform qualitative and quantitative risk analysis, plan risk responses, implement the responses, and monitor risk. 7 things. Let's go again. Plan risk management, identify risks, perform qualitative risk analysis, perform quantitative risk analysis, plan risk responses, implement the responses, monitor risk. And when it comes to planning risk responses, you got to understand that you have negative risks or threats with the A team approach. A team just means avoid, transfer, escalate, accept, mitigate. That's for the negative. And then for the positive risks, you have the easy mnemonic. You have escalate, accept, share, enhance, exploit. And you got to understand how these are different. There's subtleties and some keywords. These are things that I train in my course. Hey, for those of you who are like, slow down, I need more of this. Well, perhaps you should just show up to my training. It's at hpmexam.com. We've been going strong for a while and helping people understand this syllabus because trust me, you need a skilled animal handler. Okay. So that's risk management. Going to stakeholders. In the world of the PMI, it's the same thing. Stakeholders, you got to identify stakeholders. So there's a process to it. Like the process domain is so hard for people because they don't know the process. And PMI, they've given us a blueprint, how to think, how to practice project management. So we identify stakeholders, we plan stakeholder engagement, we manage stakeholder engagement, and we monitor stakeholder engagement. That's what you do. And in the world of Agile, it's no different. We just do it in a different way, and we don't have all these documents and processes. But trust me, your product owner, they better know who the stakeholders are. They better know the business side. They better know the customer. And they engage the stakeholder appropriately. You see, in the world of Agile, the responsibilities are broken down very differently. In the world of predictive, it's all on the project manager, right? But in the world of Agile, it's distributed across the team, across the Scrum team, or across the Agile team, whether you're Kanban or your TDD or ATDD, whatever you're doing, it's not on one person, right? It's not on, oh, it's all about the project manager. No, it's distributed. So we as team members, as developers, right, we engage with our stakeholders on different levels. And there's no project manager lording it over us in Agile. You see why the exam could be tricky? You got to be able to think agilely and you got to be able to think predictively. And then you got to choose the line of best fit based on the questions. Okay, so this is how to make the exam easy. I'm teaching you how to simplify it. These are the things I expect you to do as you're studying for your PMP exam. Okay, again, this is based on the PMP exam content outline from PMI. This is the blueprint on which the exam is based. And if you are not studying the content outline, you are not doing it right. You're doing it wrong. Don't do it wrong. Let me share with you in the chat. I'm going to bring up the PMP exam content outline. Let's bring it up so that you folks who have not downloaded the tool, because it really is a tool. Some people don't know that. You don't know the history of this thing. The PMI used to sell this for $39.99 back in 05, 06, $39.99. Now you got it for free. Absolutely free. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So this is what I'm looking at here. I've put that in the chat. Okay. So if you have not downloaded those, please go ahead and download it. Let's do that again. Okay. I hope it's coming up. Let me make sure. Let me make sure my friends on YouTube, I have not forgotten you. Let me make sure you're getting this as well. Friends on YouTube. Let's make sure it's coming across. Is it? Okay. I think you are getting it. Very good. Good, good. Okay. So That is the PMP exam content outline that I am using to go over this content. I just arranged it in a kind of work breakdown structure format, but hopefully all that I'm showing is making sense to you. Okay, everybody getting it? Very good. All right, let's go back into it. So going into plan and manage budget and resources, again, your thought process needs to be, how is it done in Agile? How is it done in predictive? And then the line of best fit, a combination of two, it'll make sense when you think about it. So let's see who remembers this. If you are watching, maybe you're watching now, you're watching after the fact, why don't you chat into me? What are the specific items PMI says you should do under plan and manage budget? Just the budget piece. Does anyone know? Let's see how many people have been studying. Some people have been studying very hard. Well, now's the time to show off your chops. Who knows? Who knows? What are the 4 things PMI wants you to do in the cost area? Nobody's biting. Okay. I'm going to assume you're either camera shy or you don't know. So, in the budget realm, the 4 things PMI wants you to do, you got to plan cost management, you got to estimate cost, you got to determine the budget, and you got to control cost. 4 things in cost management. That's for budget. Now, for resources, there's 6 things. For resources, the 6 things you're going to do, you're going to plan resource management, estimate activity resources, acquire resources, develop team, manage team, and control resources. These are the 6 things. So this is what makes the exam challenging for some people. See, and process is so loaded that you see the screen immediately full of stuff, just so much stuff. I got to clean some of it off. It's just too much. Let's get rid of some of this so that I've got enough space to write. Let's get rid of that. All right. Let's move on to schedule. I'm going to put schedule on the left-hand side here. So when it comes to plan and manage schedule, as usual, in the world of Agile, what do? Do we build a schedule? The closest we get to building a Gantt chart is when we're doing our product roadmap. So in the very beginning, we do all of the visioning and we could create a roadmap, and that's the closest we get to the Gantt chart. But in the actual world of Agile, when you're in the sprints, you're not building a schedule, you're doing sprint planning. The sprint planning is going to realize your sprint backlog, and in the sprint backlog, we have a firmer understanding of the items, and the fact that they're all going to be done in the sprint negates the need for a big old schedule. That's why we don't do big old schedules in Agile. But in the world of predictive, there are 6 things we do. What are the 6 things that we do? We plan schedule management, right? We define activities, we sequence activities, we estimate activity durations, we develop schedule, and then we control the schedule. Those are all the things that happen in 1.2.6. Because I did it in a kind of breakdown. I wanted you to be able to keep track of it. Let's go to 1.2.7. Plan and manage quality of products or deliverables. What do we do in the world of quality? 3 things. You plan quality management, you manage quality, which is more like quality assurance, and you control quality. What is the difference between monitor or manage rather quality and control quality? Manage quality in the middle is more for the process. Control quality is more for the product. So checking the process is quality assurance. Checking the product is inspection, but we do both of those in quality. Number 1.2.8, manage scope. We have 6 things we do here from a more predictive world. And the 6 things are: we plan scope management, we collect requirements, We define scope, we create the WBS, we validate scope, that's our customer doing the inspection, and then we control scope. In the world of Agile, do we do all this stuff? No. There's some things that overlap. Yeah, we get our requirements, but the way we do it is very different. The way we go about scope, we generally don't use a scope statement and we don't use a work breakdown structure. We have something that looks similar. We have things that look similar. So we can have product breakdowns. We can also have story mapping, and it's important to understand those. It's important to understand the concept of epics being higher level. And, we have on lower levels, the features, the stories, the tasks. So understanding that relationship could help you on some of the questions that you might encounter. Going to integrate project plan activities in integration, we define or we develop the charter, we plan, develop the project management plan, we direct and manage project work, we manage project knowledge, we monitor and control project work, we perform integrated change control, and we close project or phase. These are things that need to be at your fingertips, and you should know the interpretation of these. Let me ask you a quick question. Have you downloaded my cheat sheet that is available for free online that breaks down the 49 processes and shows you what you're doing in each one? If you've not, you might want to Google Phil's PMP cheat sheet. It's probably going to be the first search item that comes up in either Edge or Chrome. And I'm gonna send you my cheat sheet right now so that you can get some understanding of these 49 processes. I think it will go a long way to helping you. So let me flash that on the screen right quick so that you have a better understanding of what I'm asking you to go study. So let's put this on. Let's stop that screen share for a quick second. And let me share with you my cheat sheet so you know what you're in for. Okay, so here's the cheat sheet. Okay, so you can see it. This is my cheat sheet. And in this cheat sheet, I have the 5 process groups at the top. I have the knowledge areas on the left. And inside here, I have the processes. And if you go to this link, you can find it. So I'll put this link in the chat so you can download the cheat sheet. And hopefully that will make some sense to help you navigate the exam. So let me put that in the chat. And you should get in a few seconds. Okay. All right, let's go back to our WBS we were looking at. Going back to our work breakdown structure. Here we go. I think some people didn't get the cheat sheet, unfortunately. Just Google Phil's cheat sheet and you should find it, whether on Edge or Chrome. All right. So moving on from integrate project plan activities, just a quick note that the integration in Agile is done by the team. Manage project changes. The way we manage change in Agile is different. In Agile, our change management is fluid, dynamic. We welcome changes even late in development. Agile processes harness change, as the Agile Manifesto says, for the customer's competitive advantage. But in the world of predictive, we do it differently. We ask for a change request form to be filled. Then we analyze the change request. We put together our feedback, send it to the change board. The change board analyzes it. They decide to go or not go ahead, or they could get in touch with the customer for more. And eventually they say yay or nay, or they may put it on pending on hold. But all of these changes are talked about in the area of integration in PMI's literature. Number 11, plan and manage procurement. So here we plan procurement management, we conduct procurements, and we control procurements in PMI's world. The way this is handled in Agile could differ. We could have experts on the team who understand how to effectively manage that specific procurement, or in the organization at large, we might have a procurement team. Manage project artifacts. An artifact could be documentation, it could be a widget, it could be something that you've created in the past that needs some kind of version control. But in the world of Scrum, we talk about 3 artifacts, and they are the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment. Okay. For those of you just coming, if you have not been to my free course, Listen very carefully. If you have not been for my free course, you need to. Because what I hear from a lot of people is that the free course is even better than what a lot of them paid for. So going down to pmp.pmradio.org, and that will help you digest the contents for the exam by just taking maybe up to 3 or 4 a day. Let me go there on my phone and make sure that I gave you the right link, because there's so many PM radio links. There's study.pmradio.org, which I believe goes to my podcast, where you can just listen to all this stuff on the go. And there's yeah, so that's it, pmp.pmradio.org. And the cool thing about it, a lot of people don't know, it's one of the hidden secrets of this exam journey. But if you go on there, the same way I've got this on my phone, you can just watch, you can just scroll and watch video after video on each one of the 35 tasks. And this is about 50 hours of video, all free. I believe in paying it forward because, when I was trying to get certified, I ran into a lot of bottlenecks and I couldn't find training to help me that didn't cost an arm and a leg, which is why I do what I do. Right. So going down to pmp.pmradio.org, let me put that in the chat just to make sure everyone's got it. pmp.pmradio.org. I know a lot of people that have used this solution to ace the exam. You see, just because it's free doesn't mean it's at the level of the other free stuff that people put out. This is free, but I would value this easily at hundreds of dollars, but it's all there for free. So that's the link, pmp.pmradio.org, for those of you looking for accountability, for those of you looking for a method to the madness. Because today is all about the PMP exam. I like it simple. I love it simple. If it's not simple, I get disturbed. I get disturbed. If I see someone making life difficult for students studying for the PMP exam, it really disturbs me because I know what it's like, right? I went to the library trying to study for my exam, and I spent the first 4 hours were just pathetic, and it didn't help spending 7 hours in the library reading PMBOK. It didn't help. So that's what I do. Another thing I have for you that I want to share is the 40 days to PMP exam free curriculum. I've put that in the chat as well. And all I need you to do is follow the curriculum. I say a task a day will keep the PMP exam blues away. Just a task a day. I've made it so simple. I've taken the concept of money off the table because I have a lot of friends who are studying for this test. And honestly, they're like how I was. I couldn't afford it. Are you kidding me? I couldn't afford it because the job I was at was hopeless. Just struggling to survive. So I know a lot of you are trying to get out of that quagmire. You're trying to get to higher ground, and that's why I do what I do, because you're like the old version of Phil who could barely find books to, thank goodness for my mentor who gave me the books for PMP, because I couldn't afford all this stuff. It was very difficult. I would have to go on eBay looking for used books. Now I'm writing the books. You see what I'm saying? I'm paying it back. All right. So here in the chat, I also put here links to the video. So this could be a very good study tool for you. If you click on that, you can download it as a PDF, but this just guides you on what you need to read. Like day one, if you want to get all this stuff done in 40 days, I have all these links here, and then you can just You can just download this, and that is also a good guide for you. And you can modify it to fit whatever you're looking to do. All right. Okay. With that said, let us jump back into our PowerPoint. Stop the screen and let's jump back into our PowerPoint. I know some of you are at work. Those of you, my friends on PST, you ain't left. You're still there. You're trying to get out of work or trying frantically to watch me as you work. It's okay. The video won't go away. You can come back to it. All right. So that's all for manage project artifacts. Like I said, you got the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment. All right, let's go to the next one. Determine appropriate project methodology and practices. So this is all about knowing when it needs to be agile, A for agile, P for predictive, IT for iterative, and IN for incremental. You should pinpoint precisely know that the single delivery, let's use some color coding here for the first time. I know some of you don't like seeing red. I'm helping you see it now so you don't have to see it on the exam. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. So predictive is a one-time delivery. Iterative is a one-time delivery. Incremental and agile are multiple deliveries of a small variety. Okay. You need to understand when to use an agile approach versus an iterative approach. If you are repeating till correct before you deliver, then agile is not for you. If you are repeating till correct and delivering incrementally, then agile is for you. If you are delivering in small batches and doing it once, not repeating things, incremental is for you. It's used for a well-defined product. You do the work once and out it goes. You deliver in batches. It could be, I want to deliver 10,000 flasks, or I want to deliver 10,000 mice. Someone said animals. No, no, no. Like the mouse for your computer. All right, let's go on to the next one. Establish project governance structure. Give me a definition for governance. If your exam is next week, you should be right there in terms of knowing what governance is. What is it? Do you have an answer? I have radio silence. Everyone's trying to look all cute, be all cute. And you are cute, but don't try to be all cute. Come on, give me some answers, my friends on Instagram. Shout out to you. Everyone's being quiet. I see all 6 of you. Those of you on YouTube, very quiet, radio silence. I don't know if there's anyone on LinkedIn. I haven't checked yet. Sometimes the LinkedIn chats don't come through. Let's see if there's anyone on LinkedIn. My PMP aficionados on LinkedIn. I know some of you see me on LinkedIn and you run the other way because you're PMP. So you're scared of being in a PMP class with your buddy Phil all over again. I understand. I would not like to go through PMP all over again, but I sure enjoy teaching it. Yes, indeed. All right. I don't see any chats or anything, so we're good to move on. Let's move on. And we're talking about governance. It's a framework within which authority is exercised. Let's talk about managed project issues. What is an issue? It's a realized risk. You got to manage those as well. In the world of Agile, we call those what? Impediments or what? Blockers or obstacles. Okay. This next one, it says ensure knowledge transfer for project continuity. Be transparent. Make sure knowledge is transferred to the right people. Last but not least, we have plan and manage project or phase closure or transitions. So what are we saying here? Well, here we're just saying that when you're transitioning from phase to phase or you're closing the project, it should be managed. There should be a final report. There should be training. There should be development. There should be a handoff to the operations team. That's all that is saying. And that's it. That is it. That's it for the high level view. Remember, over the past 30 to 40 minutes, I've been showing you how to navigate the PMP exam. And you navigate it through the people, process, business. People we've talked about, process we talked about very rapidly. Go back to the videos at pmp.pmradio.org. Watch them again and again. Share them with your friends. 50 hours of free content. Last but not least, business domain. Very simple to understand. So someone might say, well, business, we don't really have a whole lot of business in PMBOK. Actually, we do. We have a whole lot of it. We have a whole lot. Where's that book? Let's see. Okay, over here. Let's grab it. Let's see if we can talk about this a little bit. Just a little bit. Yes, this one. So while it may not look like there's a whole lot of business, the first part of this book talks about, in chapter 2, a value delivery system. It talks about a system for value delivery. Let me read it very briefly on page 7, right? Page 7. It says, creating value, organizational governance, functions associated with projects, the project environment, and project management considerations. So anywhere you see the talk of value, you want to be thinking about business, because you should be in the business of adding value, right? So those are good mentions. The value delivery system, let me read the definition for you. I don't read a whole lot of 7th edition with you folks, and I should once in a while, because I've not really read a whole lot of 6 either, because it's out of print, unfortunately. But we have value delivery components, but I want PMI's value delivery system. So it says projects exist within a larger system, page 7, such as a governmental agency, organization, or contractual arrangement. For the sake of brevity, this standard uses the term organization when referring to government agencies, enterprises, contractual arrangements, joint ventures. You see all that businessy stuff talk? It's all there. Now, going over to what a value delivery system is, a value delivery system is a collection of projects, programs, portfolios. When those are working together, that is what comprises a value delivery system. Let me read page 8. It says, value delivery components. There are various components such as portfolios, programs, projects, products, and operations that can be used individually or collectively to create value. Working together, these components comprise a system for delivering value that is aligned with the organization's strategy. So what is the summary of what I'm saying? I'm not saying go cram this stuff. No. I'm just telling you that when you talk about delivering value, there needs to be a vehicle for delivering value. And that vehicle is projects, programs, portfolios. Okay? So coming over here, let's go into it now, talking about plan and manage compliance under business. In every organization, the projects that you do are usually meant to meet some level or standard, right? And in instances where you are aligned with government bodies, there's got to be compliance. OSHA compliance in America, right? Americans with Disability Act, HIPAA compliance, PCI compliance, and we could go on and on. So you as a project manager, you better have that down pat, PMI is saying. And in the world of Agile, our compliance items, those can be part of our definition of done. So because you're working in an Agile environment doesn't negate you upholding compliance. Just remember that. Evaluate and deliver project benefits and value is the next one. Benefits and value. What did I say is value? Value is your net quantifiable benefits that a customer experiences. And we have tangible and intangible value. This is very well covered. You're going to make me get my PMBOK 6. Should I get my PMBOK 6? I think I should. Let's get my PMBOK 6. So this is how you two should refer to your PMBOK. It should be not like eating it, just consuming PMBOK. It should be for reference. But I love page 7 here. I want to read page 7 for you. Page 7 in PMBOK 6. It might exist in process groups or practice guide, but I'm used to PMBOK 6. So let me read. Projects enable business value creation. PMI defines business value as the net quantifiable benefit derived from a business endeavor. The benefit may be tangible, intangible, or both. Let's jump to the examples. Examples of tangible value: monetary assets, stockholder equity, utility, fixtures, tools, and market share. Those are tangible. What about intangible? Goodwill, brand recognition, public benefit, trademarks, strategic alignments, and reputation. So you've got intangible, and what we're saying here in this specific domain is you need to be aware of benefits and value as a project manager, because we have a benefits management plan talked about in this book as well. Let's go on to page 33. Page 33 has got a very important document in PMI's world, and not too many of these project management bodies talk about it, but PMI did a good job in bringing it to the surface. It's called Benefits Management Plan. Because what happens in a lot of projects, you do the project and everyone goes their separate way and they forget about the benefits. And honestly, in a lot of projects, the benefits are not realized. So imagine working millions and millions of dollars on a project where the benefits were never really realized because you didn't chase them down and there was no one policing it. And that's where benefits management comes in. It says the project benefits management plan is a document that describes how and when the benefits of the project will be derived and describes the mechanisms that should be in place to measure those benefits. A project benefit is defined as an outcome of actions, behaviors, products, services, or results that provide value to the sponsoring organization as well as to the project's intended beneficiaries. Development of the benefits management plan begins early in the project life cycle with the definition of the target benefit. You see, there should be a target. You don't just do projects for no good reason. You do the project, you execute the project, you authorize the project in the beginning because you're looking for those benefits. So the PMI just wants you to be aware of benefits. So important. Let's move on to 1.3.3. I'll get you out of here very shortly. Evaluate and address external business environment changes for impact on scope. So when we talk about this, we're thinking about the geopolitical landscape. We're thinking about the marketplace, the external environment. You should also, as a project manager, as a servant leader, as a product owner, you should be always addressing the external business environment changes for impact on your product backlog, for impact on your project, period, whether you're in agile or predictive. But really, this is the job of management. This is a job of the product owner. This is a job of the program manager. This is a job of the portfolio manager. Any sensible professional should have their ear to the ground and be surveying the external business environment changes. Like AI is massively changing the game in all environments. So anyone who's in business and is not AI savvy, they've already missed the boat. And PMI is saying, don't be like that. Be aware of what's happening outside. Finally, we have support organizational change. You need to be aware of how your project affects your firm and how your firm affects your project. And that's it in a nutshell. It's that simple. So for those of you who are struggling with your PMP exam prep and you're like, I don't know how to study, I don't know what to do. Hey, newsflash. Study people. Okay? All the 14 tasks. Don't be trying to throw in, oh, I got to study PMBOK. Or I got to study this agile practice guide, right? No. Leave those by the wayside for now. I'm not saying those are bad. I'm just saying you need clarity to plow through the material in the first take. My recommendation will be 4 processes a day, 3 at a minimum. If you're hitting 4 processes a day in about 4 days, you're done with people. Then you hit the process domain. In another 4 to 5 days, you're done. That's just 9 days. And then you got business. 10 days, you are done cleaning through it. Then, hey, watch this. Then you can begin laying more bulk on top of what you've already gotten a firm foundation on. Because I don't want to minimize the importance of the other things you are meant to be doing. You know what other things you're meant to be doing? You're meant to be getting firmer, just like I was showing you as we're going through it. I was talking about the world of Agile, and I was talking about how you do things in Kanban and how Scrum comes in. And for those of you that don't already know, Agile is not a framework, it's not a method, it's a state of mind, it's a philosophy, it's a belief system of values and principles that when you properly apply them, it helps you pivot to the ever-changing world around you and you become agile. You are agile. Some people trying to do agile, but they're not agile in mind. It starts in the mind. That's why you can have people say, well, we're doing Scrum, and they got no clue about Agile. They're the worst. So it comes mind first, right? The mindset will affect the attitude. The attitude will affect the behavior, and the behavior will affect the culture. I call it the ABCs of Agile. Attitude affects the behavior, behavior affects the culture in the firm. And then you truly are becoming more agile. So for your exam, even though you've covered people, process, business, you need to get very solid in the world of agile. And you know the first place to go, it's not Scrum, it's not TDD, it's not ATDD, it's not BDD, it's the manifesto. Hit the manifesto. Go to agilemanifesto.org, hit that thing squarely. That's one, okay? Number two, you got to understand some of the frameworks. And the big two are Scrum and Kanban. And this is where you need to be tying PMI's perspective to these through the Agile Practice Guide, which is about 120 something pages. Anyone complaining about this book, I need to take you back to high school, because you know in high school how we would study these crazy physics and chemistry books, biology books. Those were the worst for me, the biology ones. We used to study that stuff. So I don't want to hear complaints about this puny little Agile Practice Guide. It's just 120 pages or something like that. I would advise that you wrap your understanding of Scrum and Kanban around PMI's pretty little bow called the Agile Practice Guide. I would also suggest when it comes to Scrum, we got to make this color coded. Read the Scrum Guide. Ken and Jeff did such a great job in distilling Scrum into 13 measly pages. 13, just 13. You see PMBOK is 600-700 pages. You see the Scrum Guide, puny little book, 13. But it's a powerhouse. It's a treasure trove because it encapsulates the principles that we study in the Agile Manifesto and it distills it into a framework. It's lightweight. And honestly, it is so lightweight that a lot of people think, oh, we got to go get safe. And it's sad because those folks had totally missed it. You don't have to go get safe. Safe is actually quite unhealthy when you boil it down. Goes against the manifesto in many ways. So your best bet if you wanted to scale up is to go to Ken Schwaber's website. I don't work for Ken, by the way, but Ken, in addition to Scrum, we have the Nexus Guide. For those of you that are adventurous and want to go outside of what I'm saying, you want to look at Ken Schwaber's Nexus Guide. It will help you effectively scale Scrum. Ain't nobody need no safe. I'll tell you that straight up. One of my mentors, Tom Meller, he actually calls it unsafe. It's unsafe. Anyway, we leave that by the wayside. Let's move on. So when it comes to the world of Agile, what I'm saying is get good by knowing your Agile Practice Guide, right? Get good by knowing your Scrum Guide, and get good by understanding within the Scrum Guide what it says about Kanban, the philosophies, they're there, documented very well. Understand the concept of lead time, and cycle time. Lead time is beginning to end. Cycle time is what you spent the time doing on that process or that ticket item. It's so important that you read the Agile Practice Guide. Don't leave stones unturned. I also want to speak to the concept of studying for the exam where people think, oh, what did I get in study hall? I got to check my score. You don't have to check your scores in no study hall. In fact, you'd probably be better off not using that because it's very demoralizing and discouraging in terms of the questions. I understand if you don't have a bank and you have to use it, but don't be discouraged because it's actually a confidence killer for many people. When you keep getting 40s and 50s, you know, and even 60s a measly score, and it's because the questions are not written very fairly and objectively. I would not write questions like that. So for those of you who have found yourself down that study hall path and you're saying, what do I do? I'm getting, no. The question is, do you understand people, process, business, agile? Do you understand? Let's go to the next thing because I'm getting off topic here. Let me stay on task like a good project manager. Do you understand the PMBOK or the process groups, a practice guide, right? Breakdown of the 49 processes, the 5 process groups, the 10 knowledge areas. If you do, understand this stuff, great. Note, I didn't say if you cram this stuff. I said if you understand it, great. This is what you need for your exam. Pretty much what I showed you on the 3 pages. Let's go over it again. Let's go over it again. For those of you who said, Phil, help me, I'm sinking. Hey, don't sink. Don't sink. Sink up. Don't sink. All right. So at a high level, people, process, business. I went over all this with you today, right? Next level, agile. Become a beast in agile. Understand the Agile Manifesto, the 4 values, the 12 principles, be all up in that stuff. Then the Scrum Guide, be all up in the Scrum Guide. Go to Ken Schwaber's website, like I said, scrum.org. You got some free mock exams that Ken has out there. They are so helpful, but you want to look for the exams that are tailored to the PSM certification, called PSM Open. Go take those, all right? Then understand Kanban from PMI's lens. Read the Agile Practice Guide. Good. Then, as far as the 49 processes, I have videos on that on this channel. Get great with that. Last but not least, when you're reading the Agile Practice Guide, Hyper Study Hybrid. That's funny. Hyper Study Hybrid. Hyper Study Hybrid, page 27, 28, 29. Just go crazy on those. Understand the different variations of hybrid. You can have predictive and then agile, or you could have predictive and agile simultaneously, or you can have a whole lot of predictive and a tiny little bit of agile, or you could have a whole lot of agile and a tiny little bit of predictive. And read PMI's case studies and examples of a military system and other things they have there. It will help you understand hybrid. And that's it, my friends. I'm done. I've shown you how to make PMP simple. To make it simple, you got to have this in your head, not process groups, not knowledge areas first, right? I love my process groups. I love my knowledge areas. They're great. But that ain't what the exam is based on. The exam is based on philosophies of people, process, and business, and activities, practices. Okay? I'm going to get off my soapbox. I think I'm done for the evening. For those of you who are struggling and you're looking for help, you want to go to the next level, going down to the ticker tape below, I've got training that started last week. It's continuing for 7 more weeks. It's not too late to join. If you're looking for help, for assistance, that's your meal ticket to PMP exam success. because I ain't going to let you go until you give me a PMP. You think you're doing it for yourself? I'm a stakeholder once you're in my training. All right. So I want to say thank you very much for coming through. Those of you that did, those of you who are camera shy, I see you. I know you're on there. You just didn't say much. But it's always a pleasure to see you online and learning and aspiring to get this thing we call PMP. All right. So let's give it everything we've got. Let's go to that next level, which is by studying using all of the content that I put in the chat. And I see you as a PMP. You may not see yourself as one, but I see you as a PMP. Thank you very much for joining me today. You have any questions after the fact, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And don't forget, check out all of the 1 to 3 links. Check them out. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.